Hey folks, welcome back. Wanted to talk about a few things today. We're going to go over a couple of things here. One thing that we're going to go over is we're going to talk about starting up a fuel industry. And another thing we're going to go over is we're going to VR over and check out all the different outpost facility, outpost building designs that you can spawn in with, so that you can try to help make a selection on what you think might be most useful to you. So I've done a few things here. As you can see, I've got some industry running. I've got some more containers put up. I even made this medium container, which is much larger than the small and the extra small containers. I went over to one of my previous characters and unloaded or offloaded some of this factory stuff, and some of it I made here. But you can see I have basic electronics industry, basic metalwork industry, and this one's producing right now. This one's actually on. You can see it's green. It's producing basic hydraulic parts, right? So it needs pipe and steel product to do that. The electronics units, this one was set for basic ore scanner. This one was set for basic power systems. You can change that stuff around. This is your basic smelter. You actually start with this one here. This is your basic refiner. And if you look at the refiner, that you can see this one is making pure iron. And the one above it is not on. So if you go to these, you can take that pure iron and you can turn it into, let's go to this one. You can turn it into, go to configuration here. Some of the things you need schematics for and some you don't, right? So you could go to make steel product out of this, and all you would do is hit apply. Well, if it won't turn on, it's probably because it's stuck. So you got to hit finish or stop or whatever. Then you can go in here and say, okay, I want to put it on steel, heavy metal, back to steel, and then it lets you apply it, right? So I don't need a blueprint to make steel product out of iron. I need pure iron. I need pure carbon. So you can look in your containers and say, well, do I have any? Oh, it's not connected. It doesn't have any. So it can't actually produce it. So I've got to have, if I hit B in build mode, go to 6, you can see I got to have a container coming in, and I got to have a container going out. And right now the container going in doesn't have enough pure iron and everything else. So I did produce, I did come over and put some small miners down, right? So I've got 2 small miners for 3 of the ore types, and I've got 1 large miner here for coal, right? So notice it's producing a little bit more production rate, 90%, a little bit more production rate than you'll get out of these small miners, right? So even with 2 small miners, I'm at 18 there, and I'm at 38 here. So, you know, 2 small miners versus 1 of these, but this one ultimately is gonna give you better capacity over time. So, and then you only got to expend 1 charge to get this amount, where I have to expend 2 charges to get this amount here. Now, I do have several charges saved up right now, but when you're starting out, you're only going to have 4 per day, or 5 if you train it up good, so not going to have that much. So anyway, wanted to set up a fuel industry to start out here, so let's go. I actually made everything. I went to my nano pack and I made all the parts that I needed, and I ended up with some basic chemical industry M's here. So we'll put those up. We'll just put them right here. We'll go 1 for regular fuel and 1 for space fuel. And then we'll go into these and we'll look at schematics. In our link container, we have some schematics for fuel. We got atmospheric fuel, we got space fuel. So I'll put the space fuels in this one. So the left one will be space, the right one will be space fuel. The left one will be atmospheric fuel. And I made these in my spare time. I brought some over from my other factory too. So, and as you can see over here, a buddy of mine brought the stuff over in his ship. This is just a small warp shuttle. I just loaded it up from the other. He flew over, warped over here, and came over and hooked me up. So this is actually a small ship, but for a starter ship, this would be large. But for one of the beta ships that has been around a while, this is actually a very small shuttle. It's got a seat here, and it's got some spare seats over here on each side. It's got a few containers in here, some back here. Most importantly, it does have a warp cell on it. Notice I can interact with it. See, I can even hit build on it. That's because he set up the RDMS so that I could access his ship. And I set up the RDMS here so he could put stuff in my storage. So when he came over, he just brought some of my factory that I had put up on my other tile, starting previously to this character, and came in and set it up to try to help give you guys a head start on this. So what do we do when we set up our fuel? Okay, so we got to have the stuff coming in and everything. So we said that this one's going to be space fuel. All right, so there's 4 different types of space fuel, and each one uses a different type of tier 2 ore. All right, so let's look and see what we can produce here. So if I go to configuration and I go to fuels and I go to space fuel, I can make X1, X2, X3, or X4. Well, I happen to know the ore that I have is only going to get me certain kinds of fuel. So let's look at this one. So this one's made out of copper, so the malachite. This one's made out of chromium. This one's made out of calcium. And this one's made out of sodium. So the only 2 kind of rocks we have on this tile are the limestone, which makes the calcium, and this one, X4. The limestone's more useful in the assemblers or the industry than the copper is. The copper is important too, but you use more limestone. So we're going to make our fuel out of the copper. So we're going to apply this. We've got our schematics in there. And before I can start making the fuel, though, I need to connect it up. Okay? So I've got to have the ore, or the pures, and got to be able to make the fuel. So let's go to six, and let's try to see if we've got any links left in here. See if I can connect this to this as an input. Incompatible plug types. Okay. It's saying it's working. We'll try it. Alright, and we'll have it output to, we'll just have it output to this bottom container right here. Oh yeah, we can't go back into there. We'll just have it output there. Alright, and we'll go ahead and have this set up too for the other one. Coming out of here, going into here, coming out of here, going into here. Alright, so we've got everything set up there now. Let's go ahead and turn this one on and tell it to make 200 liters. Right, and once it gets to 200 in that container, it'll stop making more. So you can set this, if you go and take 100 liters out, it'll make 100 more. That's how these factories are set up, and that's a smart way to do it. So let's go to the configuration here. Then we're going to do Atmo fuel on this one. Atmospheric fuel, nitron is the only one. Apply. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just say we want to set it up for 200. Oh, not 2,000. And hit start. And that one's creating fuel too. And it's going to take 3 minutes to create the first batch. And I'm just going to show you that there is nothing in the container. It is empty. Sometimes you think a container's empty because you have like something typed into the search field, and if you don't have something in that container, it'll look like it's empty. But so you got to always make sure you don't have something typed in the search field. Let me show you here. This is the primary container. So if I type in pipe, it's only going to bring up the pipe. So sometimes you'll come to a container and you'll forget that you typed something in. Let's type in something that is not in there. Well, there's no QUEY in here, so it looks like this container's empty, but it's not. Look, it's not empty. It's just I've got this up here. And it'll stay up here for a long time, so sometimes you just got to go in here and clear that out so you can see what's in the container. Just FYI. So let's get this first batch coming out, and I'll show you how this is working. So we got to make sure we got, good thing pure oxygen and hydrogen are byproducts of other manufacturing processes, so I got quite a bit of those in there. The pure copper is going to be our limiting factor, but we have some pure copper in here, 444 liters of it, so we can make some fuel. Now for the nitron, what we have here is carbon and silicon, and there's quite a bit of that, right? So I got 3.7 kiloliters of pure and 1.7 kiloliters of pure carbon. So we should be up. So we should have a little bit of space fuel in here. Boom. Okay. So this is important. So we've already set this up. Now when it puts this other 200 in there, it's going to stop producing. If I pull it out, it'll make 200 more. Or if I pull half out, it'll make 100 more. So that's basically how you get the industry set up. And I know I didn't show you how to make these, but I mean, come on, all you gotta do is type in chemical industry M, right? Basic chemical industry M. So I gotta make screws in my nanopack. I gotta make psyllium product in my nanopack so that I can create this. And boom, that's it. Next thing you know, we're producing, I can't actually produce this in my nanopack, but I can produce the components that I need, right? So that's our chemical industry as far as producing fuels. That is the lifeblood of getting started in this game. You've got to have fuels. And you don't want to be buying it, you want to be using your own ore and not paying anything for it. Okay, so hey, what if I don't have any more tier 2 ore left on my tile and I'm using more than I have? Well, you're gonna have to go find some tier 2 ore somewhere else. Guess what? If you fly to Mattis, it's all over the ground there. There's 2 types of ore on Mattis when you get there. I've been playing the public test server, and it has what it's supposed to look like in this game after it launches. And as you can as you'll be able to see, there's actually, I said 2 kinds of ore. There's chromium and there is limestone. And it doesn't matter what tile you're on there, you can pick up on any tile that's not owned by somebody. So any tile that's not red. So any tile that's blue or any tile that's a market, you can pick up stuff there. So you can fly to Mattis, and you could pick up 10 kiloliters of each and fly back if your ship's big enough to carry that and take off from the planet, right? And then you can bring it back here, and that's enough fuel to last you for quite a long time. So you'll also eventually be able to get a tier 2 miner and put miners up, and they'll look just like this, but they'll be instead of a basic, they'll be an advanced miner, right? So this is a This is a basic mining unit large, basic mining unit small. The advanced is the next one up, and if you take a look at the tree here, you can see some of this. You know, you've got your tiers of ore go like this: basic, uncommon, advanced. That's your third, or tier 3. Rare, and then exotic. Exotic is tier 5, rare is tier 4. So that's basically how this works, and there's different products, you know, pure products and stuff that you can make for each one: basic, advanced, rare, uncommon, exotic. I've said those out of order. Uncommon's actually tier 2. So let's go take a look at the buildings, like this building right here that you can start with, and it comes as basically a deployable construct in your nano pack when you come in. But this is the pilot outpost. So let's go take a look at these. We went over there the other day and looked at them. We're going to go in VR and take a peek. And we're just going to type in Tango Romeo November uniform. TRNU starting samples, and we're going to connect through VR. Alright, and we're here. And it's daylight, so that's good. So this is obviously the one that we had. And I'll go over real quickly why this is a good one to have. You know, we talked about the fact that it has a small space and Atmo fuel tank. It's got some containers in it. It's got some mediums and some smalls and extra smalls. It's got this small space engine, which is a big deal. And also these other parts, especially these the small adjusters versus just the extra small, and also another extra small engine. So you can take those and you can make them part of a ship to get you out of the atmosphere and go somewhere else, right? There's other components. There is a small core, right? So you could take this and see this this runway out here. You could take this entire building apart, move the core down into the runway level here and make just a flat base. I mean, you don't have to have it locked up. Nobody else can access it but you or whoever you give RDMS rights to. So you could take all these building apart and just make a big flat pad if you wanted out of the voxel. Or you could use the voxel and make yourself a cool ship or whatever the heck you want to do. And you do get, on all of these, you get the one small basic miner with a charge on it, because when you come in you won't have any charges till the second day, right? So the very first thing you need to do is start producing sometime soon. Start producing these in your nanopack. Produce 3 more at least, if not get 8 total going. You do have a container hub here that links to all those containers. We talked a little bit about that. So this one comes with some parts and stuff. It's pretty cool. This is the most futuristic looking one, right? Oh, and that one has 3 elevators in it. Elevators are going to be a long time making. We talked about those the other day. If you watch my video, but you can go up and down with them. C's to go down, space bar to go up. So having 3 of them, some of these only have 2. Having 3 is a big deal because if you're going to take it apart and use the parts, it's going to be a while before you're going to be able to make those. You know, same thing here. You got more containers. This one actually has several containers. It's got a small in the middle and 4 extra smalls here. So in some ways it has less than others. In some ways it's not that much different. And then you go up to the next level and you've got a nice lounge area here. But you don't have a lot of those parts that you get in the pilot one. You get some parts laying around like this one. But what am I going to use a manual switch for? To open a door. And the top level here has a nice bedroom and everything. Again, there's not a whole lot of stuff here that I'd probably be using. So I'd probably not go this route unless you just like the aesthetics of the building. And, you know, hey, that's all up to you. Oh, one thing I want to point out is to help with your industry, you can take some of this stuff down. Some of this is actually pictures, but some of these screens you can take down and use in your industry. Like this is a large, or a medium screen. I mean, this is art, and this one's art, but and here's a screen right here. You can take those screens down and use them in your industry. There's a nice window, nice skylight up there. So it's not a bad building. It's got good parts. It doesn't have some of the parts I would use to build a ship, so I care a little less for it. So this is the Outpost Landing. This is the first one I ever spawned in with when I tried this this new situation out, and I'm not real impressed with this one. I mean, it's got the containers and stuff. You can go down underneath that, right? Through that door. Let me open that back up. Close that back up so nobody falls. Doesn't have all that really that much up here. It's laid out okay. It's got some of the same stuff. It's got a nice landing pad on top, but versus the pilot one having the landing pad down at the bottom. but not a whole lot of difference. I mean, most of the differences in these buildings are how they look. If you want an ultra modern one, this looks kind of cool. Here's the cozy fixed outpost. Right, so it's got some of your containers laying outside, kind of haphazardly located out here. It's got some beautiful plants and your normal miner and stuff. It does still have some of the fuel tanks that the other one has. Does still have some elevators. Does have a hatch leading down that I hadn't seen before. And it has a nice veranda up here at the top, so if you could find a place near the coast, this might be the one to have, because you can sit up here and have cocktail or coffee or something and look out upon your empire or your tile, whatever the case is. So this is the Outpost Villa. Kind of the same thing, a lot of outdoor space here versus indoor space. It's kind of a mix. Few things in place. There's some things that are just here, like this nightstand and this bench. You can actually sit here, but it doesn't really do that much for you. This one does have some parts, right? It's got some adjusters extra small, some adjusters small, but not as many as the pilot one has. So it's only got a few as compared to the other ones. And I know I'm not doing a real thorough look in here, so you guys are probably not getting a real good feel for what we have. One of the things this one has is a medium Atmo fuel tank. So if you want to make a bigger ship, the Outpost Villa might be the one for you, because it has a medium instead of a couple of smalls. Let's see, how do I get up to the top here? Where's that elevator? Do we have an elevator? Ah, here it is. All right. So I don't see a space fuel tank here. There may be one, I just may have missed it. Take a look around. Yeah, there's probably one somewhere, but I don't see one. So, but it's got a medium Atmo, so that's kind of cool. So it just depends on what you want to do, right? Here's the station. This one's kind of bare bones a little bit. This one has the force shields, which you can put on ships to go in and out of ships. Those are kind of cool. That helps out a lot, and you can turn those on and off. So you can, let's turn it back on. So those are like ramps that you can put up. They're not really protection. They're just there to help you get in and out of the ship. So this one's only got the two elevators, the one up here and the one down there. So you only get 2 versus 3. So every one of these has its own thing. But this one has something that the others don't have. This one has an atmospheric radar, medium. That's pretty big. That's pretty huge. You got to check some of these others out. Some of the others may have some radars and stuff too that you can take apart and use. So let's look at this one here. This is our Outpost mod. So this is the most modern, I guess. It's got some different features. If you're into farmhouse style, then you're probably not going to want this one. But if you're into the modern style, this might be the one for you. Since you don't really eat or drink or sleep in this game, some of this is kind of to me wasted, but I mean, everybody's got their own things that they like and dislike, so it's all up to you. Again, not a whole lot on this one as far as parts and things like that, so it's going to be for whoever likes it. Here's the Outpost Wave, and it's got kind of a wave design in it, right? So this one should have 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 elevators. This one might have 4. So if you're looking to get elevators, this one might be the one to take here. Let's go inside and check it out. Let's see here. There's some containerage. Level 2. Level 3. And that's that's it. Nope, there's not a fourth one. So this will get you 3 though. But you don't really have a roof to go up on. That's kind of sucky, but you know, guess you don't have to have it. What did I do? Did I not go down all the way? I did go down all the way. Ah, here we go. This is we talked about that already. I'm not gonna go over that. Outpost Block. All right. So if anybody's like in the Borg mentality, this might be the thing for you. This one's kind of got a lot of room inside. You could put some of your factory in here and not have it out cluttering up the front yard. You know, like hey, I'm got a redneck factory going on here. But that's what a lot of people are going to do up front. It's got a nice shower unit here, which you'll never use. There are several features in here that are just purely for visual, but they've done a good job on it visually, aesthetically. And there's some containerage, and there's your, let's see what that one is. That's a medium fuel tank too, so that's pretty good. But you don't have a space fuel tank, so you'd have to go to the, you have to go buy those and produce them in your nano pack. Again, this one only has 2 elevators, so not that much. This must be the one of the guys' ships that came over to look around here. This is our lander that we landed in. If you watched my first episode, you probably saw that one. And this is the Outpost Dojo. So, I guess if you're into this particular style, then this might suit you. There's some room in here. If you pull these benches out and stuff, you could put a little bit of factory in here and stack it up if you wanted to. Let's go up the elevator, look around a little bit. Yeah, there's more stuff up here, but nothing really that much useful. I don't see a lot of parts laying around like we have on the pilot one. That's really the reason I like that one the best, but everybody's got to pick their own style and get what they like. You know, what's important to me may not be what's important to you, so you'll have to pick that. So that's kind of full circle there. We've gone the whole gamut. Again, to get out of VR, tab, exit. Now, sometimes, well, while you're in VR, none of your talents will work. So if you try to apply talents on somebody's ship through VR, that's not going to work. But, or their factory or whatever. Sometimes, in the past, on beta, when you go into VR and you come back, your talents still don't work. So that used to happen. I'm hoping it's not going to happen after they launch. But if it does, just understand that all you have to do is log off and log back on and you'll be fine. So our fuel has stopped producing because we have, I must have said 300 on that one. Or did I just say, let's see what I said. I said 200, but it makes 150 per batch. So let's just change that to 300 a match anyway. Because that's what it's going to produce anyway. And let's change this one to 400. So stop. So just showing you that we can change this. And now it's starting back up to make more because it's only got 200 in here. So it's going to make some more. So I'm actually going to have it produce some fuel in case I need some. So I'm going to throw this fuel in here, and now it's going to make 300 of this and 200, or 200, or did we say 300 on that one too? No, we said 400. So it's going to make 400 more space fuel and 300 more atmospheric or nitron fuel. And that's one thing too, when you get a spaceship, let me show you here. This is kind of important. Where's the hatch? That's not my ship, so I'm not familiar. Let me turn the light on. Oh, I got the light on. So here's our fuel tanks. This one has medium tanks on it. So just again, it's just a small warp shuttle. I'd call it intermediate to small at best. I wouldn't even call it a medium-sized ship. So if I was going to put fuel in here, let's go to 4. This one actually has, if I hit Alt and try to pull it out, Oh, I'm not in the repair. I need to hit 3. So it's got Carrigon X1 fuel in it right now. So let's say I want to put more fuel in it, and the space fuel I have is X4. So let's queue that up, and let's put some X4 in with the X1. It don't worky, right? So if I've got X1 fuel in there and I've got X4 fuel that I need to put in, I either got to use the X1 up before I put it in, or I got to pull the X1 out, right? I can hit the Alt key while I'm in my fueling tool, and I can pull that X1 fuel out, and then I can put all X4 in if that's what I have more of, right? So just so you know, with atmospheric fuel, it's easy. There's only one kind. But with the space fuel, you're going to have to manage. If you've got 200 liters of X1 and 200 liters of X4, and your tank holds, it's a small tank, so it holds 400 liters, guess what? You can only put 200 in there because you can't mix the fuel. But then you can stop, and at some point, or even while you're going from here to Mattis, you could use some of your fuel, pull out what's left of the X1, and then put X4 in. That's all fine. Works fine. You can do it while you're moving. So you can get out of the ship while it's going between planets, not a problem. So anyway, that's going to finish us up for today. I think the next time around, we're going to talk about one of the most important aspects of the upcoming launch, and that's RDMS, right? That's F7. Rights and Duties Management System. You've heard me use the term RDMS, that's what it is. So how do I set things so that I can give people rights? How do you use tags? I'll show you how to do all of that. And you can decide who you want to give your rights to and which rights you want to give to them. For example, if you're part of an organization, but you've got your own base and do your own thing, but you became part of an org so that you could get help from other people and kind of be part of a community, they may say, hey, you got a ship that you made? Yeah, sure, I got a ship. Would you like us to come over and apply talents on it for you? We've got, tier or level 5 talents, and it would make your ship a lot easier to fly, and it'll hold more cargo because they can actually put their talents on the containers inside and everything else. So, and you might say, sure, come on over, but you can't. They can't actually apply the talents on your ship unless you give them permission. So you might create an RDMS called, apply talents to construct, and then we'll talk about that when we get into the next video. But I think this is going to be something that each of you need to know how to manage. If for nothing else, if you do it wrong, you give everybody access to your stuff, and you'll come back and won't have anything, and you'll be set to start from scratch by collecting stone from the ground and starting over without even a building. Nothing. So anyway, this concludes this video, and I hope everybody has a good day.